All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. So just a few quick words. We're going to move this along. Normally, we would train a little bit, kids and adults, and start about 11:30. But because it was a little congested here and we didn't coordinate probably as well as we could have, we're just going to get into giving everyone their stripes and belts, those who deserve them. So with me, Coach Brett Talbot. Coach is very instrumental with our kids program. He dedicates all of his time when he has free time. He's got a very his job requires a lot of him and his time, his family's time. But he still, and thanks to his wife as well, he still finds time to come in and help train our kids and help them with the program because he's ran a very large program with other schools in other states. So we're happy to have Coach Brett. So I just want to thank Coach Brett for
when they do show up, they're still making those incremental changes and those incremental growths in the sport. So let's bring up Chase and Michaela. Come on up, guys. Where's Abraham? Come on up, sir. This is their dad. He's a pretty good guy sometimes.
Yeah, by the way, Abe, his wife Mila, some of you newer people, we usually get together after these sorts of things, but I feel bad even bringing it up to them because they immediately offer up their house, their big backyard, the trampolines, everything else. So you guys haven't maybe seen the benefit of that, but we thank them for all that because they don't get paid.
Bob's your dad? Yeah. Coach Sean too. Excellent. We'd like to have them a lot more, but I know that they've got some compromises. They'll get in when they can. Let's start belting. Okay, guys, so the first belt that we're recognizing, this is kind of a new belt that we're throwing into our system, but it recognizes kids who have been here for about a month. They're really starting to understand the basic positions in Jiu-Jitsu. They haven't quite built upon those where they can start linking the moves together yet, but it's a stepping stone. So these are pretty important for the kids, these belts. This is a white belt with a black stripe down the middle. It's not a black belt. You guys don't have black belts, all right?
No, that's from Taekwondo.
Oh, yeah. All right, first up, Miss Angelina, come on up here. Everybody clap for her. Good job. Let's get this little belt off, okay?
What do you mean?
And so parents know there's no testing in our Jiu-Jitsu program. Jiu-Jitsu is very raw and it's in your face. And because you're on the mat and you're having to struggle physically, we know where people are at. The test is just showing up. There's enough competition on these mats where we don't have to put you through katas or forms or anything like that. None of that stuff really exists in Jiu-Jitsu. You either do it or you don't. You either put up or you shut up. And Jiu-Jitsu has a very unique way of weeding out the people that just can't hack it. So she's done excellent. She's been with us for almost a couple months now, but I can tell that she's going to have a real bright future with us. So good job, Angelina. Let me get a 5. Keep your belt, Nathan. Come here. Keep your old belt. Okay, next one. She came to us when she was just 3. She's now 4. I started my son when he was 3. In the beginning, my son was just kind of all over the place. And I just thought, oh my goodness, he's never going to get it. But really, it's just the age. But she comes in and she shows an extreme amount of interest. And she's also made some big steps forward with her learning and her ability to hold still, which is key for any kid to learn anything. So with that said, I'd like to recognize Miss Anna. Anna, come on up here, please. Keep coming, okay? Be nice to those boys. I'm proud to boast that we have a lot of girls that train with us. And with the reality-based background that Jiu-Jitsu uses, very important for little girls to learn. So you're going to be one of our future killers. Good job. Excellent work right here. Right here. his ability to focus, his ability to start putting things together has really climbed lately. We still have some, ways to go, but we'll never get there by taking him out of the program. And he is here every single week, and we are seeing those changes. And I have no doubt that those changes, a lot of them are due to our program. So I have some great optimism with where this young man is going. So let's recognize Mr. Evan. Evan, coming up for hands up. It's all right. Move him on. Good job, buddy. New York. Okay. All right. We're moving on to our gray with white stripes. So now, these are for kids that have understood the basic positions. They're understanding now how these moves are starting to connect, and they're in the infancy stages of connecting moves. Jiu-Jitsu, I like to say, is a multi-piece puzzle. Thousands and thousands of pieces, and those pieces represent not just moves, but these small techniques associated with those moves. And when you begin Jiu-Jitsu, your path, you put a piece in here, and you put a piece in here, and you put a piece in here, and you're just like, what the heck? It really doesn't make any sense. I feel like a fish out of water. But over time, you see that these pieces start connecting, and then your game develops. And then one day it's like a flip just switches, and you're able to make it work. And at that point, it becomes magic, for lack of better words. So these guys are in those infancy stages of starting to piece those techniques together. And from here, it's just going to blossom into nothing but beautiful moves and beautiful jiu-jitsu, especially in this curriculum. So the gray with the white stripes, let's see. What do we have down there? Let's recognize, are these all the same size? Okay. Let's get these small ones to all right, let's see. Miss Jana, come on up here. Family of 4 kids. 4 kids. So I can imagine what their arguments are like at home, where it immediately probably just goes to the ground, and that's how they settle it. But these first 2 that I'm recognizing, just due to their age, had a hard time paying attention, holding still. And if you ask the rest of the coaches and you ask their parents, they will tell you huge, huge, significant improvements in that. And these are qualities that will extend just beyond this mat. They will follow them into school, into their future jobs, and their relationships with other people. So, Ms. Jana, congratulations. Excellent work. All right, next one. He's really starting to piece it together now. And if he does like his older siblings, he's going to be a terror in no time. Mr. Braden, come on up here, sir. All right, hands up. Good job, buddy. Keep all your belts, guys. All right, next. She may be one of the quietest ones on our mat, but she never walks off the mat without a huge smile on her face. Along with that, her technique is really starting to get pretty scary for a girl her age. And I mean that in a very good way. She will be one of our little divas on the mat who's going to be crushing those boys at the tournament. We have a lot of very successful girls on our mat. And so I'm proud to have her here and really happy with the direction that she's going. Just Jillian, come on up. this white belt, huh? Well. Good work. Keep coming. All right. This guy recently competed. What was it, a couple weekends ago? He did very well for his first time out. Competing is not for everybody. And you learn a lot about who you are as a person when you go and compete. But he carried himself quite well. And he did excellent, and he's made our school proud, and he's going to be just an awesome asset to our school because he's one of the guys who truly is starting to understand the technique. So, without saying anything else, let's have Mr. Victor come on up. Congratulations. Small. We're going to change this out as soon as we get a better one, okay? It is M1, yeah. Good job, buddy. Good job, Victor. John. All right, guys. Next one. This girl right here is tough. I'm getting tough with her. Dad works with her a lot. And when she comes to the mat, she brings her best game every single class. We have a few things that we're working on to even sharpen that sword even further. And I have no doubt in my mind that just like her dad has improved over many years, in just a few years, this one, all these kids are going to have their hands full with her. So, John, you want the honors? Olivia, come on up. Evan. Set the example. Good job, Liv. All right, so. The two eldest of our family with 4 kids, these guys right here, they're very, very cerebral. What I mean by that is, you have to be able to visualize these moves. It's very difficult for young minds to visualize moves and adapt that to, the physical equation. And they do an excellent job. And to see the level of technique that's coming out from kids at this age is mind-boggling. Because when I began, and especially when I began teaching kids, there was nothing like this that existed on that. And I guarantee if they continue with it, if they come this far, they will continue. But if they continue it into adulthood, we can have some future champions in our hands. So I want to recognize both at the same time. Trey, come on out. Get your sister. Go get your sister. Come on, Neely. Put these belts on you, okay?
Thank you, my daddy.
This one. Good job. All right. This is one of our brightest talents on the mat. The kid has come in and wasted no time getting to work. He's one of the few kids, one of the few people on the mat where you can show a technique one time, just once. You don't have to show it to him again. And he's using it to absolutely wreck the competition on these mats. And when I say that, I don't mean that by hurting anybody, but he's using it with great success. Tremendous amount of pressure, and there's no quit. And that will equate to some amazing jiu-jitsu game here in the very near future. So, Josh, come on up, sir. Get you a bigger one as soon as we get this all sorted out. And maybe tie all funky, but that's what we got for today. Good luck. All right, another sibling group, and these guys come in great smiles, and the only thing that is probably better than their smiles is their technique. They're very studious when it comes to jiu-jitsu, and I can imagine they're studious when it comes to everything that they do. But when they show up, I don't know what it is, but it always just makes me so happy to see them on the mat. The older one actually suffered kind of a gruesome injury in here not too long ago, and most kids, it would just cause them to quit. You know, I don't want to do it anymore. But within a couple weeks, he was back on the mat with the same smile and the same dedication. So I have no doubt that if that didn't derail him, nothing will. I'm very proud to have these guys in our school. Great future ahead to them. Taven, Sana, come on up, guys. Nice to those boys. Nope, I like it. Good. Taven moved up to the solid gray belt. The solid gray belt pretty much represents they get it. They get it. They're not just piecing the moves together. They don't just understand that certain moves connect, that they're really starting to flow. And they're tough for anybody on the mat. Not just kids their size or smaller, but they're actually able to put on that heat with kids who are bigger and stronger. And that truly is the essence of jiu-jitsu. Being able to use it against somebody who's bigger and stronger, and they're trying to use that strength and size against you. Yet you're still able to mitigate that through technique and leverage. So that's where that gray belt, the gray belts really represent in our school. So that's what we're moving on to next, are those solid gray belts. Thanks for setting it off, David. And let's see what we got next. Okay. All right, next. This guy, when he comes to the mat, you get a wild game. What I mean by that is you have to have a lot of energy to keep up with him. Not just as instructors, but as a competitor against him. He's starting to make these moves work for him. He's starting to connect these moves in a way where kids are having their hands full all the time. Love having him on the mat. especially since he's the same size as my son. It's a great training partner for him. But this guy has shown a lot of heart and dedication. Mr. Adam, come on up. Come on up. Hey, you all right? All right. Hands up. Work. Good job, buddy. Keep up the good work, okay? Good job. Excellent work right here. Coach Sean. Okay, so all right, this is one of two siblings as well. We love having the siblings train. Like I said, I can only imagine what the arguments look like inside the house. Her sister is not here on the mat with us today, but when they came to us, they both had some issues with focusing. They both had some issues with holding still. And you can see when they train, they've done an entire 180. And that's a beautiful thing to see as an adult. It's a beautiful thing to see as a parent, and it's more impressive to see as a coach. So these girls' technique is starting to become flawless. As usual with anything in jiu-jitsu, it never ends. The path never ends. You keep going, you keep training, you keep adding to your repertoire, you keep sharpening that sword. Well, these swords are pretty sharp, and they're just going to get sharper. So with that said, Elise, come on up. Hands up. All right, next one. She recently did her very first competition, and she did awesome. She did so good, she exceeded coach's expectations. First match was against a 10-year-old boy, and she beat him. She didn't just beat him, she dominated him 17 to nothing. The kid didn't score 1 point. He was bigger, he was stronger. And what worked was jiu-jitsu. So she's able to channel that jiu-jitsu. She's really using it in a way which is advantageous for her. She will never, I guarantee this kid will never get bullied, and she will never be a bully. And those are the things that we teach in this kids program, we highlight in the kids program. So she is a great representation of the school, and I'm very proud to present the last gray belt to Miss Maddie. Come on. Good job, Tracy. Well, that's all we have for today. All right, 2 more belts to give out. Gray belts with the black bars. So at this point, it becomes more just time on the mat. Time on the mat. Once we're able to start piecing those moves together, it's time on the mat. It's adding to the repertoire, knowing more moves, and having the ability to really effectively make those moves work. This is at the point where we're really going to start adding submission holds. Submission holds is what separates jiu-jitsu from the other martial arts. We're not going for punches and destructive knockouts to the head and all that stuff which accompanies the striking arts. Jiu-jitsu is a gentle art, and it's the roughest feeling gentle art I've ever been through. But these guys right here have been on the mat for a long, long time. And one's father works with her quite a bit. I work with my son quite a bit. In fact, let's bring her father up here. Come on out here, Tim. And I want to thank Tim for working with his daughter so much, because you can see that he's made a tremendous impact in her life with Jiu-Jitsu. So let's bring him out at the same time. Very, very proud to tie this belt around my son. Tim, I'll give you the honors to tie it around your daughter. Alexis, Noah, come on out here. Arms up. You get top. Understood? All right, get down.
Doing the rock star.
Teaching the wrong things.
Come here. Here, keep this.
There you go.
In line. If you guys don't know, Alexis is one of our fiercest competitors. She competes every single tournament. I can't tell you how many boys have walked off those competition mats in tears.
They're now parents of other kids who go to watch her matches. That's a true story. I'm like, how do you know, Lex? I mean, we watch all her matches. Because she beat our son, and now we watch her matches.
There are parents that walk up to the coaches and say, "Where do you guys train? What are you doing to these girls? Are you injecting them with steroids? What's happening?" But really, it's the technique that's being taught here, and it's us running a very tight ship. And I know sometimes when we teach those kids, you're like, "Oh gosh, they're really tough on them." Yes, and that's what you pay for. You pay for that discipline because it reinforces what you guys teach them at home. You pay for that discipline because walking out these doors, as you guys know, the world is sometimes not a very pretty and easy place to live in. And so reinforcing what you guys teach them and staying on them and giving them that discipline is the healthiest thing that they will ever receive. And the gift of Jiu-Jitsu is one of the greatest things that they will ever receive. To you kids, those belts around your waist do not give you superpowers.
No.
Remember that.
Your technique gives you superpowers.
That's right. Your technique gives you superpowers. If I take my belt off and tie it around one of you guys, are you just going to automatically going to go out and be able to, cream whoever? No, it doesn't work that way. What gives you guys your technique and your ability is one simple solution: show up. Show up. Get your butt on the mat, right? When you get your butt on the mat, I want your eyes and ears always on coach. And wherever you are,
Be there.
wherever you are,
Be there.
one more time, wherever you are, be there, sir. Wherever you are,
Be there.
all right, guys. All right, guys, so that concludes our kids. Let's give them one more round of applause.